What is up guys, Wraec is here with new video, and today we got the biggest copy my account has ever seen, even surpassing the SS LFA, even surpassing the SS Star Alchemist Holmes Young that we bought, and now it is one of the heroes that I actually like the most in the game, one of the heroes that I reviewed and said that his Destiny transition skill is one of the most promising we have seen yet. And well, this hero of course is none other and Star Swordsman Mockman. You can see him right here. There is a small problem to that. You can already see his E5. We have to kind of set him up a little bit, but that can all happen in due time. Let's see the copy first. You can also see 41 million attack. He is no homeowner. He is E5. He's not even V4. That is 41 million attack right off the start. And that is the copy. 9,499 attack, SSS-Tier, SSS-Tier HP and SSS-Tier speed even at 97, very nice. Currently holding all the soul power that is on my account, and it's not enough to even max him. He has a max of 8,800 soul power actually, so there is more capacity there for us to use and make him even stronger, which for the moment is a bit of a problem because, well, I really tend to spend into soul power for the moment. We will get some more in due time, but for now that is what we have. 700 more soul power to max him actually, which we will do and will be absolutely insane. You can see he's already, if we add this up, over 17,000 attack, and that also explains why we have 41 million here. Gives him quite the insane attack stat. 27 million attack just off the get-go. So I mean, it's trivial at this point to get to something like 50 million or 60 million attack. If you consider that my SQH alone as a tenant for my LFA provides like 10 million attack. So that gives you an idea of how strong this hero can really be at the end. And then we add stuff like Tree, we add like Imprints, we add all of that stuff. And that will of course end up making him really, really strong. So what do we need to do now, and what is the plan? Well, aside from the obvious that we really need to put some sublimations on that guy, get some tree going and stuff, which I am saving up for, which we are going to do, well, we also need to reroll him, and we need to think of a team of how to use him. I have an idea for a team. I want to do something of a counterattack team. Maybe with Geggy, probably with HHA. And using this nice Destiny transition skill that he has at D6, I want to have him at D6, that is the important part here, because he makes this huge jump in power at Destiny rank 6. And if you are not aware of that, maybe look at my Destiny tree or Destiny in-depth video that I made about him, where I explain all of that. So basically, well, better look at it right here. When taking damage from active skills or basic attacks, which is wrong, it's just being hit by an active skill or basic attack, he deals damage, and depending on his form, he either deals damage to the front line or to the back line, and it's like, he can do that 5 times a turn, which is a lot of damage. And when he reaches this 12 layers of transition power, he unleashes what is basically another active skill. So what you have there is, he does his normal active skill, and if you use active skill transition power gain, you might then reach 12 transition power, which leads to him dealing an extra 1200% attack, and that up to 4 times repeated. So making this one of the biggest active skills that we have in this game that a hero can do. So absolute madness there. Or well, when he gets hit, this part. I'm not even sure actually. We have to experiment with that. Usually this part should trigger when this is fulfilled. So when he takes damage while having 12 transition power, but it's weirdly worded. We'll have to experiment with that. We will see if it's like active skill and he triggers it, or if it's like active skill, he has 12 transition power and then he gets hit and then it triggers. So we'll have to see how that works out. But still, there's so much damage in here: transition skill damage buff, normal damage buff, and if you just click through there, there's so much good stuff, and I'm very, very eager to test it. So we have one of the probably strongest counterattack heroes in the game that I see in the PvP meta, maybe even as a TBB counter, and we have an SSS copy of that, which gives us a lot of possibilities to go for, and a lot of possibilities in terms of a team. We saw some new Transcendence heroes that were quite interesting. Geggy, full team counterattacks. We have TBB with basically getting hit while she's full energy will trigger and full enemy team CC, which is also kind of interesting. We have this SS Holmes Young, who has a lot of buff abilities that could be used, or Arania, also with counterattacks and some support reactions when she's hit. And, well, obviously we have to take a little look at Yom Tomb. He might face a problem, be a bit of a problem for counterattack team. So you have to think about that. But then again, his specialty is dodge and counterattacks. Well, they can't be dodged because that's passive damage. Passive damage can't be dodged. Only damage from actives and basics can be dodged. So in that sense, it's strong again. So it will be very interesting to find that out. First thing though, and that is something that is quite cool that we can do that today, we actually have a bunch of hammers and can use that to reroll this copy, which is something that I'm looking very much forward to. So let's go ahead and do that. Currently our roll is Giant Killer, Holy Armor, Divine Block, Holy Damage, which is kind of interesting. I don't necessarily want Divine Block. Holy Armor is kind of cool. And Giant Killer, obviously. I want to have that PvE damage. Like, I want to be able, when this copy is set up, to basically use him in PvE instead of DTV. With the new way they structured Void Campaign, enemies had less life. And that is in general something that a hero like Star Swordsman Mockman likes more, or is better able to clear. If at the time when they had super high life, you really needed a huge Mockman, which obviously we would have, to get past those enemies. And at one point they just got too much HP because we saw E plus 14 damage on those stages, which was absolutely mad. And then DTV with its more consistent damage and not losing out to stance change is just better. And now that should be different. Now we should be able to burst through those enemies, which means I kind of want to have Giant Killer. We have a lot of other perks. We have immunities going on as well. For PvP, a good immunity, obviously. Twine immunity to counter TBB, also rather interesting. One of the other best damage perks is definitely Defier. And then we're looking at this 40% holy damage or at 250% skill damage, which are both very interesting. We're not yet sure if skill damage works for Destiny Transition. That is something that we'll still have to figure out. If it's not the case that skill damage works for Destiny Transition, because skill damage usually only works for active skills, so holy damage would be better. But those are definitely interesting perks. Taunt immunity is another thing. HHA core is in the game, and having two heroes higher attack than Mockman will be rather difficult. So taunt immunity is also something that we would like to see. Giant Killer, Defier, that's the baseline. And on top of that, we stack stuff like Twine immunity, taunt immunity, holy damage, skill damage. Hunter's Focus is also what we're looking for. So those 5 perks really on top of Giant Killer, Defier, then we are looking at a good roll. Holy Armor is good, but it's mostly, I would place it 1 tier lower than the other perks we just talked about. So let's see if we can get a Giant Killer, Defier roll first, and then we'll see what else we can do on top of that. So I personally, I think I want to have Twine immunity. Giant Killer, Defier, Twine immunity, that is something that would be rather cool. TBB is still quite the force to reckon with, even though, I mean, it's not really a counterattack we are doing with the Destiny Transition. It works like a counterattack, but it's a Destiny Transition skill, not a counterattack. So it shouldn't be even blocked by her CC. So that's a question, really, if we really need Twine immunity. Seal of Light immunity, interesting considering the new hero does Seal of Light. I don't think it's really that important for us, but kind of interesting that we saw it here. Stun immunity and freeze immunity. Double immunities or triple immunities are super rare. Like, you rarely see them, which is a bit weird, considering there are like 12 of those in the game. And, well, you would think that we would see them more often. But oftentimes you don't even see any of the immunities. But then again, the stat pool at S tier is quite big. We didn't even see any roll that was worth considering. I mean, stuff like that there you can see. By the way, if you guys weren't aware of that, the higher your Awakening tier, the higher those stats also are. So like at SSS-Tier, you get 250% skill damage from this stat, while maybe a B tier would only get 40% or something. So at SSS-Tier, you really get the highest amount, and 250 skill damage is quite insane. 60% armor break as well. Quite interesting. 25% damage reduction is also quite a lot. Yeah, but not really any good roll yet. My god, we can't even get Giant Killer. Interesting, 23 control immunity. Offset that on a Starwing Jara. Ooh, that would be something. Okay, what do we have here? We have control immunity, offset, Giant Killer, Ship Crusher. Ship Crusher was also something I was thinking about. I wouldn't mind Ship Crusher. But I think Giant Killer with holy damage and holy armor is still a bit better than this roll. We don't necessarily want to go for CC perks. I don't want to taunt too much, to be honest. Though, on the other hand, taunting is kind of interesting as well on him. Fire, Divine Block, skill damage, holy damage. That would be better for PvP than this roll. But I don't think I want to run something without Giant Killer. Giant Killer, Hunter's Focus, effect of being here, controlling immunity offset. Nah, can't go for that. But at least we got some Giant Killer stuff in there, so I guess that's the start. I mean, if I now get the God Roll PvP roll, I would probably take it. Okay, we got Giant Killer, Defier, holy damage, and block. I mean, we obviously take that, because it's like 3 of the stats I said are good, and we got block on top of that. So, finally, bloody hell. How many hammers were there? 26 hammers before we saw Giant Killer, Defier. Okay, but the goodest thing is we got holy damage on there. The block, I'm not sure we really need that. But then again, I mean, we are going to run HHA in a block team. So, having some more block, counteracting some of the precision the enemies have, that could be decent at least. Not like insane, but it has some synergy. We have a hero here that we want to get hit. We might even run with a mirror, so makes kind of sense for him to have block, really. Let's see if we can improve that. There we have the Twine immunity. Let me drag that over. Let's that replace the block. Oh, that would be insane if we got that roll like this with the holy damage, the Giant Killer, the Defier, and then Twine immunity instead of block. Ooh, that would be insane. I mean, I obviously would take stuff like Ship Crusher as well, like the other rolls that we were talking about. Okay, Giant Killer faction rule, if we kept him as a normal Mockman, maybe, but not like this. Giant Killer, holy damage, not too bad. Armor, well, we don't really need that, and armor break is useless to us, because we have that anyway. And then we got for our last 2 hammers. I think we got a decent roll there. Still, it's like the case that you often have with those S-tier heroes, or S-tier and above heroes. You have a good roll, and there is still some room to improve that. And then you spend more hammers, but it's like it's an abysmally low chance to get anything better. I think we're looking at some pretty nice stuff here. Giant Killer, Defier, holy damage, block is pretty good. How much block do we have? 128% now. If you aren't aware, you can definitely make use of more than 100% block, because precision counteracts block. So if the enemy has 128.7% precision now, you have 0% chance to block. So you always have to calculate it with the precision of the enemy. And precision, most enemies run, well, we would run 24%, but that is pretty low. So I think most enemies have something around 50, 60, 70% precision. So that brings us down to 50% block, which obviously would be enhanced a bit more by HHA providing us with block as well. So that's pretty good. I'm not sure we're necessarily going to run him for now. I just want to make this video to show you guys, well, we have the copy and that's the plan. And he will be our new PvP hero. So that is what we are working towards. I'm not exactly sure when, but I will make sure. We are going to make a few videos about this guy. Let me know where you're eager to see him. Do you like Mockman? It's definitely one of my favorite heroes. So let me know that in the comments. And with that, I wish you a great day, and we'll see us in the next one.